This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on a Football Friday. 3-hour banger lined up for you today, including Bob Condotta, who has spent many years covering the Seattle Seahawks live from the Bay Area, and that's coming up in 30 minutes. Adam Chernoff on the program in 90, his thoughts and analysis on the big game. How about this? Duff McKagan, bassist. You may recognize the name. Guns N' Roses on the show in 2 hours. Well, what are we doing talking to him? He is from Seattle, lives there today, is a diehard Seattle Seahawks fan. He loves fantasy football, and they are touring again beginning in May. I can't wait to talk to that guy. As you said yesterday, no notes fresh. You could go in, do an hour with him, no problem.
Yeah. You're good friends. You go back to your time in Anaheim in the gym. And you saw him at the hotel gym. Hey, how you doing? Mr. Brownstone. Okay. Big gulp. Yeah, can't wait to talk to him.
Ryan Kramer on the show. I don't know if we're going to have time. And Ryan's awesome. He's going to have some long shot bets. I don't know if we'll have time to sneak this in with Duff when he joins the program. I will say, beginning of the show, if we have enough time, I want to tell him that when Lorraine and I adopted a baby boy back in the summer of 2024, like we knew we were going to name him Sebastian, right? But we still wanted to run it by the birth mom. And so when we flew back, like the day that we got to where we adopted him from, they're like, here you go. He's yours. I'm like, do we just leave with him now? Like, he's our baby? Yep, that's the story. Okay. So then a couple of days later, we met the birth mom, her sister, and the adoption agency woman who was awesome in the whole process. We had dinner, and we're talking about names. And so we knew it was going to be Sebastian. We wanted to go Sebastian Axel, but we didn't know if that was too extreme. And then we're talking to the birth mom about, like, names that she had in mind, and she wanted to name the baby Alexander after her brother, like the middle name. And they were like, interesting, that's very close. And then we're talking to her, and dinner's like 2 hours. Eventually we said, like, what kind of music did you like growing up? She goes, well, I swear to God, first words out of her mouth, my mom loved Guns N' Roses, and I listened to it all the time when I was younger. Like, bingo, there's the name, Sebastian Axel. And she loved it, and that's the name of our little boy who's going to be 2 months old coming up in April.
All right.
I want to tell Duff, we were thinking Duff or Slash, but that might have been a little too overboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Get ready. Get your tickets. They're coming here in August. The Guns N' Roses.
I'll be there.
The Guns N' Roses World Tour. Go get them, guys.
Look at this today, huh? Let's go.
There you go. He just had a birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Still doing it at 62. What were the odds?
No kidding. Okay, so I think we have to start by addressing what took place on the show yesterday and tied it into the NFL honors last night, because the odds, if you missed the show, the odds plummeted live when we were on the air on Teteroa McMillan to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It went from minus 20,000 to like minus $3. Now, minus $3 is still a pretty heavy favorite. Doesn't mean, and it's not a game. It's an award, obviously. So the votes were in many, many weeks ago. But they were like, does somebody know something? And it was funny how, Paul, you kept dropping the entire time. It was like climbing down the ladder. And Chuck was down to plus 190. Like, is he going to do this?
My God. They just played games.
And they played games. It was never close.
It was a blowout. The only thing I could think of is maybe one person reached out to a couple voters, word around the campfire, whatever, that maybe a couple voters said, yeah, I'm voting for Chuck. And they said, okay, well, I've talked to so-and-so and so-and-so this week, and they told me what they're going to do. Other than that, how does it make sense other than steam chasers, right? Because it was a total blowout, and it was never in question that McMillan ran away with it. So
there was only actually, and we were asking the question yesterday, will we get an upset? I was making the case that I thought Coach of the Year could be closer than the odds market. It wasn't. It was Vrabel in a runaway. The next closest guy was actually Liam Cohen. And Ben Johnson got one vote.
I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense.
What world are we living in here, folks?
Yep. Again, when you talk about awards, to me, the schedule is a big factor. And the fact that they played the easiest schedule for a playoff team since 1999 and one of the easiest schedules since the 70s, that's part of the discussion. He did a great job. He's a good coach, but they were favored in 11 games before the season started. No one saw this coming with Chicago, and certainly that they would win a tough division, play a tough schedule, and how he did in a 180 and changed Williams. from everyone said a bust, can't play, whiffed on the pick. You know what? He's pretty good. But I don't understand how Ben Johnson didn't get credit for everything that the complete turnaround in Chicago. Vrabel did a great job, but the schedule's big. And like we said for 2 months straight, the schedule has to win the day in the MVP argument. It's got to win out. Who you acquire the stats against and who you play has to matter, and it did.
Yeah, but Paulie, that was razor thin. Stafford was not a runaway.
Well, I think it got close because, so I guess the $9 was off. But I think what happened Monday night in Atlanta was big. But also, you have to handicap the voters. Number one, nobody got robbed here. Number two, stop with the seed crap. Oh, 2 seed against a 5 seed. The only reason the Rams are a 5 is because the NFL's got a Mickey Mouse format.
Correct.
Most people thought the Rams were the best team in the league or the second best. And the reason why'd they get a 5? Special teams. Oh, by the way, he scored 37 and 27 in the 2 games in Seattle.
Yeah, and by the way, so people are also telling me that, because I have a problem with Josh Allen getting I know people lost their minds last night. Sam Monson came out on Twitter and he actually admitted that he was the guy that voted for Justin Herbert. Uh-huh. I think there should be a bigger outrage on Josh Allen getting 2 first-place votes than Justin Herbert getting 1.
I thought the same thing.
Right, so you're going to vote for...
I don't agree with it at all, but I could see the case a little bit for Herbert because he was... So many guys were hurt in the off. You saw how bad the offensive line was in the playoff game.
Oh, it was every single week the guys getting murdered back there.
And he was dealing with a bad OC. So Allen doesn't win the division. He loses at home to the Patriots. He was awful against Philly, cost him the game. He was horrendous against Houston. He was bad against Atlanta. And how do you do that?
Right, you have a guy who won that division with better numbers. And 2 people voted for Josh Allen. That's unacceptable, in my opinion. But you're also going to hear everything, right? So when I tweeted that out, other people are saying, come on, guys. One person responded by saying, if Stafford played on the Bills, it'd be 7-10. I've heard everything now, right? Okay. And then another Bills fan, I get it. You're going to back your guy, Josh Allen, told me that everybody on the team is marginal, including the running backs. You just said that the league's leading rusher, James Cook, is marginal. That's the end of you having an opinion on this then. Stop it, because James Cook is phenomenal. And he would start basically anywhere in the league.
Yeah. I thought Monson's breakdown was horrific. Well, a couple linemen went out in the Monday night game, and then Stafford started turning the ball over.
Right.
Okay. He put up ridiculous numbers for a 6-week stretch, like a 20-2 touchdown INT ratio, and put up great numbers during the season. And if it weren't for the special teams, they would have been the 1 seed. But I also said this too, and you got to handicap the voter. I think a big thing was this is like his last hurrah. The big announcement was he announced he's coming back, but it's a guy who's at the end of his career who's never won an MVP against a guy in his second season.
Right.
I think that also helped Stafford get the MVP.
But here's my takeaway on it is this. You heard a lot of people, Paulie, say that they're going to be dying to give it to Matthew Stafford because he's never won it before.
Yes.
And he might be on the way out.
Yeah, we've seen it in other sports,
I look at it the exact opposite way because McDonald never had a chance to win Coach of the Year. Kubiak never won Assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And the way that I think that it looked at, I looked at it anyway last night, was they were actually dying to give it to the Patriots. And I don't know if the East Coast bias factored that in or not. Vrabel won Coach of the Year and Josh McDaniels Assistant Coach of the Year. I believe first time that's happened, only other time it happened was in 2018 with Andy Reid and Nagy. Okay. That's it. Mm-hmm. And they almost gave the award to Drake May. So to me, they weren't dying to give it to Stafford. They were actually dying to give it to Patriots players and coaches last night. And that's not okay by me.
No. Are you concerned now? This Cousin Sal tweets fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
Belichick snubbed. Kraft snubbed. Brady turns on the Patriots. The Patriots fans turn on Brady. May loses the MVP. Patriots win by 21?
Yeah, sure.
It feels like it, right?
That's how it'll go, and then the players are going to be talking about it after the game.
Yeah. What a week. What a week that we've had. Oh, man.
So I wanted to point out quickly on that. Every favorite got there. The closing favorite got there. However, we also learned this, that we can get massive overreactions in these betting markets. And the overreaction was when we were screaming about it on the air after the Atlanta game on Monday night, late. There's no way, no how Stafford should have been in the 3-1 range to win the MVP.
Yeah, May got to $9 during the game.
Yep.
Outrageous.
And that was a humongous overreaction. And from that standpoint, we were able to capitalize on it.
How about Offensive Player of the Year? McCaffrey was second. He almost caught JSN.
Yeah.
That's another big surprise.
And I also wonder, like, how much the late season games factored that in. Because what if McCaffrey doesn't drop that pass near the goal line in Week 18 on Saturday night from Brock Purdy? What if he scores a touchdown there instead and they somehow win the game and they win the 1 seed?
Mm-hmm.
Again, votes have to be in a couple of days after that week.
Yeah.
Does he win? What if Ben Johnson doesn't drop that game on Monday night in a shootout to the Niners and they don't lose to the Lions? Is that the reason why he got 1 vote? It's outrageous to me.
I agree. JSN was 70-1. Yeah, almost.
Was he that high?
1,800 yards. And again, his prop was 950 before the season. So the questions about what this offense is going to look like, how are they going to score, how Darnold ended the season, what a job Kubiak did, and McDonald. And he was 70-1. Stafford was 35-1. And I'll run them all down and win-lose. But McCaffrey was only 3-1 comeback player of the year. He was right there with Dak.
Right. I know Schlesinger was a big one, and we talked about that on this show and Pot of the Futures with JVT early on in the season.
Yeah. JSN was your big boy, though. I mean,
70,
who saw
huh?
that coming? Wow. Yeah.
I believe I saw today that at one book they had 102 players listed. He wasn't even one of them.
I was just going to say that. Yes, I saw the same thing. Well-known book, didn't even have him listed.
That is wild.
Sure.
We're going to dive into the game coming up next. And reports of a leak moved a novelty prop significantly overnight and into the morning. Buckle your seatbelts. We'll run down the info for you coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We are live in Vegas. Big game comes up on Sunday. We're almost, 49 hours away from the opening kick. And we head out to the Progressive guest line. Longtime friend of the show, Adam Chernoff, joins the program. Parts unknown, as always. All right, you've had a good 10, 11 days to think about the game. The most common number out there is still Seattle, 4.5. The total moved down to about 45, 45.5. Your thoughts overall on Super Bowl 60, Adam?
Well, if I was a little bit closer, the move is to drive to where did you say it was the other day? Snoqualmie?
Snoqualmie, yeah. Yep, up in Washington.
They were dealing 6, is that right?
Yeah.
6 and 3-1 in the Patriots money line.
Yeah, boy, it's last year it would have been in great shape just a couple hours away there, but a little bit further this year. So I would love to take that 3-1 on the Pats money line, but I will go with the Pats plus 190 as the play on the side of the total. And where do we even want to begin breaking this down before we get into some props? Where should we start?
Well, do you think it's going to be okay? So if you like him to win outright, are you expecting a sloppy game from Sam Darnold?
I think I'm honestly expecting a sloppy game from both sides. My sort of general thought with the Super Bowl is I don't remember another Super Bowl necessarily where there's been such a lack of, first of all, skill position player talent on both sides. I mean, aside from Smith and Jigba, you guys were just talking last segment. You're like, where's the ball going to go for the Pats? So there's a big void there. Both of these offensive lines, relative to what is typically in a Super Bowl, are way behind what you're typically expecting. And then I think rightfully so for the last 10, 11 days now, there's been questions about what do we get from both of these quarterbacks. And so for teams that typically get to a Super Bowl, there's a severe lack of star power on both sides. And So I think that kind of shapes a lot about how I'm thinking about this game, in particular on offense. And I look at this point spread at 4.5, some places slightly higher. It to me feels like a lot of disrespect pushed towards New England. And I read that as being the last couple weeks in the playoffs, which I don't necessarily think is fair, because the Chargers game was quite misleading in how it played out. And then the last 2 weeks, I mean, New England has played in very difficult weather conditions, which is not going to be the case. And so to me here, as popular as Seattle is, I just, to me, look at plus 190 on the money line and think that the Pats are getting a lot of disrespect here for a team that, I get the schedule. That's been talked about a ton. I agree with it. It's been as easy as it gets, but you can't control who you play. You can control how you play against them. And the Pats all season have been exceeding expectations in the betting market week after week by substantial margin. And so I could say a lot of the similar things about Seattle too. And I just look at where this number would have been, and we're all of a sudden pushing out just much too far, in my opinion. And so just on that rationale, for me, it's the Pats are on the money line plus 190.
Okay, very good. So your favorite prop is interceptions in the game over at plus 115.
Yeah, over 1.5 to be specific. So every year I kind of narrow down one prop that I like more than others. And this is the one for me this year. Last year went very well with the Barkley catch, and hopefully pushing through this as well. So again, just mentioned, I look at lots of lack of star power, questions about the QBs. We're talking questions with the offensive line. I see this game playing out where both of these offenses find themselves in a lot of forced passing downs late, 3rd and long, 2nd and long after a first down run is negated. That's going to put them in annoying passing situations. And the one spot on both teams that there are very little concerns about is the defense, especially the secondaries for both teams. And so this Super Bowl, honestly, Darnold, does he deserve to be in a Super Bowl? That's a question. Does Drake May? I mean, it's a game that could very well be over the heads of not only both of these QBs, but these offensive lines, these coaching staffs. And I think that just shows itself in some high forced passing scenarios as both teams struggle to run the ball effectively. And we're going to see these forced passing situations against good defenses, I think, lead to a lot of opportunities where secondaries can make plays. And so 1.5 at plus money to me is priced very wrong. I think this is kind of relative to past years that we've seen in the Super Bowl. And again, I just look at the caliber of offenses we typically see in Super Bowl matchups on both sides, and I see this year being very, very differently. And so to have this in that typical range for over 1.5 interceptions for both teams combined, guys, I don't agree with it. I think this one goes over. Maybe you find alts out there for this one. I think we see both QBs throw a couple.
Okay, there's also another plus price available right now involving turnovers, and you want to bet on Seattle here?
Yeah, so Seattle, most turnovers in the game is plus 120. And I look at New England, what they've been doing in the playoffs. It's been a lot more blitzing. Milton Williams has been back on the defensive line. That's improved the defense quite a bit. Everyone's healthy. We know that Vrabel, I think how he's approached the lead up to this game, he certainly seemed like the looser of both coaches. He's been here. He's done it. I think he's going to really push his linebackers to blitz, bring a little bit of extra pressure. And that's Darnold his entire career. When that pressure gets to him, he's made some bad decisions. He's made some mistakes. And I think there's a real possibility that we see that happen in this game as well. And so an aggressive Vrabel with a Pats defense that's been blitzing a lot, with guys healthy, being able to bring extra pressure. If this is a tight game or the Pats tend to have a lead and he dials that up a little bit more, I think we see Darnold forced into some mistakes. I think there's potential for mistakes elsewhere too. A big story all week has been who's blocking in the backfield for the Seahawks and how are they going to handle the divide between the two running backs. And so I think this kind of plays in naturally to what I'm looking at. And I would go Seattle most turnovers at plus 120.
I'm with you on this one. Stevenson receiving yards over 23.5.
Yeah, absolutely. So about minus 115, no matter where you look for this one, pretty standard line everywhere. Seattle kills outside wide receivers. New England, not a lot of outside receivers to begin with. They're going to go to heavier personnel. They're going to have multiple tight ends on the field, and Seattle plays with a lot of light personnel and really invites the run. They really want you to run it on them on early downs. And I think there's going to be kind of an avoidance from that for a little bit more protection, a little bit more stability in the offense. When those wide receivers are gone, we're going to see Stevenson as an outlet. And I think he has potential here to break off a couple of big catches. And so over 23.5 receiving yards, price I like here for Stevenson.
All right. Henderson, what role does he play in this game? Only 4 snaps in the AFC title game, but you think Henderson can do something here? Let's start with rushing yards over 18.5.
Yeah, over 18.5. So he's never been anywhere close to this number all season. He's been closing significantly higher, but he played in 2 snow games back to back. And we know from earlier in the season, there was a little bit of a lack of trust. And so in the weather, naturally, the Pats did what they've done this season and pushed things more towards Stevenson. Well, now we see recency bias from recent games. You guys had Frank B on earlier in the week, who was awesome. He was talking about how what you see in some of these playoff games carries over into the markets, and we're seeing exactly that right now. This number really, really low. He's going to get more snaps. He's going to get more touches. He's going to be more involved, especially if the Pats stick to that heavier personnel, and he's going to have a lot of potential against this lighter personnel that Seattle plays defense with to find space and to break off bigger runs. And so I don't agree with this number being nearly as low as it is. This is underpriced for the usage that he is going to get. So over 18.5 rushing yards for Henderson.
Okay, and then one more here, and it's a running back. You're on Helani in this game?
Yeah, so like sticking with kind of avoiding the receivers, JSN has been faded under, and we've seen Kenneth Walker get just pummeled to the under the entire week from a lot of sharps and a lot of pros. That leaves Helani in the backfield for Seattle against this Pats team that's going to be blitzing a lot. With what we've seen, Walker's touches get bet under as well, in addition to the yards, I think is a pretty good signal that the Seahawks are going to go to their better blocking back in the backfield with Charbonnet out, and that's going to lead to Helani here. Over 1.5 receptions is the prop I like at minus 140. He's going to be featured more for those blocking snaps with New England blitzing more. And if you have Darnold in a bit of a panic or trying to get the ball out quicker, and you have these good New England corners being able to contain things, the natural outlet for Darnold out of the backfield to avoid some of that panic, it's going to be dumping the ball off. And so I think we see Helani get involved a little bit more than expected at 1.5 receptions. That's a number that could go over pretty early in the game, I think, with how he's going to be used. So that's another one here I'm looking at.
All right, pal. Good to talk to you, man. Enjoy the game coming up on Sunday. Best of luck with the bets as well. We appreciate it.
Likewise. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the big game, and thanks for having me over here in the playoffs, and look forward to chatting with you guys again soon.
You bet. Adam Chernoff on the Progressive Guest Line on X at Adam Chernoff. You have Stevenson 30-1 MVP in the game. How many other MVP bets do you have?
Myers.
Yeah.
And, I think that's it. Okay. He also made an interesting case before the segment. Most yards from scrimmage, Henderson, 60-1.
Up next, you're going to get some perspective on NFL awards from somebody who has a ballot. That's coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in here on a Football Friday. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy hour coming up. We'll get to in-pocket plays for the weekend and the big game. Ryan Kramer going to join us in studio from the Sports Gambling Podcast in about a half an hour, and we are going to connect with bassist for Guns N' Roses, Duff McKagan, coming up here anytime as he hosts a show on Ozzy's Boneyard, Sirius XM Channel 38. Also, he just performed a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne at the Grammys on Sunday night, and he is a diehard Seahawks fan from Seattle, and he loves playing fantasy football.
Yep. Loves sports, loves football, and they did an excellent job at the Grammys, and it's one of the best bands of all time. And what a debut album. And Guns N' Roses, fantastic, and everyone's excited about the world tour.
Can I tell you, Paulie, I saw them when they opened up T-Mobile here in Las Vegas back in 2017. My immediate reaction was that's a top 5 concert I've ever seen. Fast forward 9 years later, I still have the same feeling. And I'm going. My wife got me tickets for Christmas to go see them play in August out here in Las Vegas.
Unbelievable.
On the note, she goes, for you and a friend. And as I get it, I'm like, she also gave me the shirt.
Yeah?
On Christmas, right? Part of the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
She goes, for you and a friend. I'm like, oh, great. I get to take anybody. She goes, yeah, I can't wait to go watch.
Yeah. Come on. Come on.
All right, so this is great. Duff McKagan joins the program now on the Progressive Guest Line. Again, Sirius XM. The show is called Three Chords and the Truth on Ozzy's Boneyard, Channel 38. Diehard Seahawks fan, loves fantasy football, and their tour begins May 5th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Duff, can't tell you how awesome this is. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Thanks for having me, man. It's Blue Friday. I'm wearing my Seahawks sweatpants. That's what you do here in Seattle. It's Blue Friday. And kind of just blown away by this team this year. Was not expecting all of this. I was in Brazil when the season started. And it was all about the Mariners, basically, in September. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'd never been that far into October, all of that stuff with our baseball team. So, I mean, Seahawks kind of started, they fumbled, they stumbled a couple times, and like, okay, they might, 9-7 or 10-6 or something. Okay. And they just started to win. And once I got like an app so I could watch the games down in Brazil. And then I was in Central America. Then by the time I got back to the States, their defense was just unstoppable. And meanwhile, I was kind of watching, like the rest of us, the Patriots as well. Like this team, they're just winning games. And it doesn't matter your strength of schedule. I heard a lot of that after when the two teams got in. It's like you got to win the games. They won the games, Doesn't matter who you play. So, but the Seahawks kind of blowing my mind this season. It's so different than any other season.
Can you compare as a lifelong diehard fan of this team? Now, they won one again like more than a decade ago, and you've been on this journey with them before to get here. What is the rush and the anticipation like as somebody who loves the team so much compared to playing in front of tens of thousands of fans for a big show?
Yeah. I mean, the rush being, I flew home to Seattle a couple days ago. I was able to do an Aussie thing at the Grammys last Sunday. So I was down in LA rehearsing and stuff. Watched the Rams game down there, two-way. That game is like the 49ers and the Rams. That's the real, if you're in the NFC West, that's everything's clinched. You play those two games, and beating both those teams was kind of like the Super Bowl. Going into this now, it's kind of just extra stuff. And Sunday, I've got my older brothers are coming. A bunch of families coming over to the house. We're doing kind of what we usually do for the game. I went to the New York Super Bowl, the one we won against the Broncos. Jerry Cantrell and I flew out to the game, and that was epic. I decided to stay home this year and just enjoy it with my family.
Okay. You got a prediction of what happens? Final score?
That's real tough for me. I'm just not one of those guys. I mean, our defense against most anybody except for the Rams, our defense is real stingy and real hardcore. And I would think, but they've got a good offense. They've got a good defense. 21-17 Seahawks.
All right.
Fair enough.
I said 23-17. Not bad. My favorite song, by the way. My favorite song, Mr. Brownstone. Unbelievable job at the Grammys. Take us through what that felt like and how that moment and that came about to pay tribute to Ozzy.
Right. Yeah. So three of us on the stage, Chad Smith and Andrew Watt and myself, wrote and played on the last two Ozzy records. So we were in and around Ozzy quite a bit since 2019. And then Slash played on Ordinary Man, one of the records of those two. So the grouping of the four of us felt exactly right, and getting Post Malone, who sang on an Ozzy record, and Ozzy sang on his record. It just seemed like everybody was right. We'd been a part of Ozzy's life for the last 8 years, and but paying tribute to Ozzy, I was in Birmingham last July with that big show, and Guns N' Roses played there, Metallica played there. All of our friends and family played that show, and we're there. And watching Ozzy and Sabbath at the end of that show in Birmingham, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Mm-hmm. So, flash forward to this last weekend to pay this honor to Ozzy and Sabbath and everything, and to play that show, play that 5 minutes with cranked up amps and super loud drums and super loud vocals was killer. And Sharon and the Osbourne family was there, and my wife was there, and my 2 daughters. It was a celebration.
It was an amazing performance to watch live on TV. So on that note, let's say you're forced into picking the best rock album of all time, but you cannot pick Appetite or Destruction. Which one are you going to go with?
Favorite rock album of all time? That's impossible, man.
I know it's a very difficult.
What do you do? You know, what do you do? Exile on Main Street, or do you go Led Zeppelin 2?
I thought you'd go Physical Graffiti.
I thought maybe that or Master of Puppets.
Yeah, I mean those are great records, right? I could pick. I have 100 top 1 records, rock records of all time, but picking one is so hard for me to do.
Okay. So you love playing fantasy football. Which other famous musician is like your nemesis when it comes to playing in these leagues?
Well, I don't know if I have a nemesis. I mean, Jerry Cantrell got me into his Alice in Chains league. I did not play this year because I was just, the last 3 years I've been gone on tour. So I told Jerry this year, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be able to pay attention. I don't want to not sub out somebody and give somebody else. I don't. It's like playing blackjack. You got to play the table with the right players, and I don't want to be the player that's, screwing up the table. So I didn't do it this year. But Jerry's not my nemesis, but he's the most competitive guy I've ever known. So in fantasy football, that competition is certainly there. Like if you play cards with Jerry, I don't know if either you guys ever have.
I never met him. No.
Oh, you never met Jerry?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very competitive guy.
Okay. Well, if you come out in August,
he's an amazing guitar player because of it.
Yeah. What is that moment like? And you get ready to come out in the States, and you're here in August with the tour. What's that adrenaline rush like when you take the stage and there's 20, 30, 40,000 people going crazy for you?
Yeah, it's a lot. Like I've learned to temper it, not let the adrenaline take over, because we play, man, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So if you come out kind of like a rookie with all your adrenaline going and you're running around, you're gonna tank. So I measure it, but it's this point in my life, it's such an honor to have people show up to see us play, and they people my age bring their kids who are now bringing their kids, and it's epic. That's all I can say. It's really pretty cool, and I've got a cool life.
Yes,
No
you
doubt.
do. Yes, you do.
And the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, man. Come on.
Yeah. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was my birthday yesterday.
Very cool. Who do you think wins the MVP in a Seahawks 21-17 win?
In a Seahawks 21-17, man, I hope it's Sam Darnold, to be honest with you.
You got to feel pretty cool about this, right? Because all the doubt with him. Man, Minnesota had a chance to hang on to him, but they're like, nope, 14 wins, not good enough. You look bad in the playoffs, you can go to Seattle instead.
That's a little nuts, yeah. Seattle's a good landing place. It's such a good football town. We don't have the Sonics anymore. The Mariners are over. It's a NFL football town for sure. And a guy like Sam Darnold can come here and get a chance and get a bunch of avid fans behind him, and I think that's been helpful for him this year.
Well, Duff, Can't tell you how cool this was for you to hop on for a couple of minutes today. I got the shirt on today, Guns N' Roses. My wife got me tickets to the show out in Las Vegas in August. I saw you open up T-Mobile back in 2017. I said before you came on, still a top 5 show I've ever been to in my entire life. Can't wait to watch you guys again live out here. And again, now your Sirius XM show is called 3 Chords and the Truth on Ozzy's Boneyard, Sirius XM Channel 38.
Yes. My wife and myself, 3 Chords and the Truth.
You do a great
Susan
job.
Holmes McKagan and me.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Thank you, Duff.
We've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. We appreciate it. Good luck on Sunday. Duff McKagan, bassist,
Guys,
Guns N' Roses here
thanks
in the
for having
Progressive
me
Guest
on.
Line.
Go Hawks. Go Hawks.
You got it.
Go Hawks.
Thanks, Duff. A lot to get into coming up. In Pocket Plays, Ryan Kramer on the program as well. Here, Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We're going to unload the Gatling gun here with just a ton of bets. Ryan Kramer joins the program now, one half of the Sports Gambling Podcast. You get it every single Friday night right here on VSiN, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific time. And in honor of Super Bowl 60, you guys are going to have 60 prop bets that you're making for the game.
Feels like the right thing to do, right? Why? This may be the best graphic the VSiN team has ever created. Yeah, why not? 60 props, Super Bowl 60. I'll be honest, I did cheat a little bit. I got up to like 64.
So. Oh, it's more, so that's fine. I think that's okay.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this. There's I feel like a lot of the gambling content out there is pulling back, and they're like, we're not going to give out too many. We have to be responsible. So we figured why, when everyone zigs, you got to zag.
Good for you. That's
Thank
right.
you.
This is right up your alley. This is at Caesars. Bobo scores a fourth quarter touchdown, 30-1.
I really wish Bobo didn't score that touchdown last week because he would be all up in my card, and I'm just like, did they burn it a week early?
Right.
And I have Seattle fans reaching out to me, DMing me, saying that Arroyo was a healthy scratch, like they're going to have a play for him. This is the week. So to pivot off of that, I'm heavy on the Arroyo stuff in a similar vein to Jake Bobo.
How much with Arroyo? Like everything across the board?
I'm going to play his. Some places have the half catch. Some places have. I think Circa has 4.5 receiving yards. Really, the anytime touchdown. You can find still as high as 10-1 out there. That's the way I'm going to play it. Which the DMs never provide the greatest intel, but my intel tells me there's going to be a little bit of a red zone package for him.
Is that right? Are you playing first and last with him as well?
First and any, not last.
Okay. All right.
I haven't pulled the trigger on any last touchdowns yet.
We did during the show. We had a guest on, Bob Condotta, who has covered the Seahawks for a long time. He brought up Cam Akers out of nowhere. Brought up his name, and I'm like, so did you do that because you think he might take some snaps away from George Halon? He's like, well, I don't. Anyway, when he brought him up, I'm like, 100-1 last in case it turns into a blowout?
And I can tell you that CJ Sullivan, one of our guests on the show, typically, he's on that. He's on the Cam Akers angle. So has a ticket in pocket already for last touchdown.
Now, how about this? Some of the novelty props that you can find, either prediction markets globally or whatever. See, this one stood out to Paulie and me immediately, and that is you're getting higher than 4-1. I think it was actually maybe in the 5-1 range on which landmark is going to be shown first. Go ahead.
So this is one where I love these, and I love our friends near the equator that give us all these fun options, but a little bit of handicapping, and granted the limits aren't the highest, but you can usually find an edge. And with Alcatraz versus the Golden Gate Bridge, Golden Gate Bridge is the staple of San Francisco. This is the lock, should be minus 1,000. But the NBC crew, they are doing a pre-game show. Jack Collinsworth, Tony Dungy, and Rodney Harrison will be live from Alcatraz, taking you, as they put it, to places people have never seen on the island. And so imagine all the B-roll they're going to collect. And what do they do when they go to those commercials? Well, they're going to show you B-roll. And so the idea that you can get 4 or 5-1 on Alcatraz versus the Golden Gate Bridge, I had to jump on that one immediately. Max play, which I think was probably $50.
Okay. Good for you. Yep. Good for you. Don't forget about Mitchell Brothers also there. How about Drake May married to his middle school girlfriend, mentioned plus 550?
Yeah. So this is a Mike Tirico handicap. I always like to look at the announcer. And, of course, first Super Bowl for Tirico. they did a little behind the scenes on him, and he was very proud of his nuggets. He was very proud of the fact that he digs up most of his own research, his own nuggets, and he went out of his way to talk about how he loves family stories because they bring you the best nuggets. So the idea that you have a middle school sweetheart, now wife situation, she's also kind of in the same vein as Kyle Juszczyk's wife. You know, fringe, interesting to the public. She's got the TikTok. She's doing the food. She's taking the wives on the private jet. And so, yeah, I absolutely think Tirico is going to mention that Drake May married his middle school girlfriend. And this has actually moved a bit. It opened at plus 650. It's down to about 4-1 right now. So handicap is strong.
Wow, that's some great intel.
Thank you.
Tirico likes
this is what happens when you have too much time.
Okay.
And the internet's a great place. You can find anything, right?
Total yards in the Super Bowl versus ice arrests on February 8th.
So last year, the number one prop that people reached out to me and said, where can I get down on this, was arrests in New Orleans versus, I think it was also total yards in the game. And what happened? It turns out I learned that all of these places have dashboards where you can see these numbers. So I found, funny story, the federal government doesn't have a good ICE dashboard, but some kid from Cal built a site, and he's been tracking it. That's what they're going to use to grade it. And really, the average is between 300 and 550. Now, guess what? It skews just like a work week. So my take is these ICE agents, they seem like the kind of fellas who might want to watch the Super Bowl. Arrests will be down. Do you think there are going to be more than 350, 400 yards in the Super Bowl? I think it's pretty likely. I think the total yardage for the game is in the 500s, in fact. So felt like an easy move. We're laying a little bit of juice here, but I'm taking the total yards in the Super Bowl versus the ice arrests on Super Bowl Sunday.
And what was the juice that you had to lay? Was it?
I think it was minus 150.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
How about they're actually going to go with the kids' invention here and saying that that's going to be the accurate number? We'll go with that.
The funniest part is last year's version of this prop took about 2 months to get graded. I was emailing this sports book with the data like, hey, I think I won this bet. So I'm fine being the data arbiter, and I'll send them the data again, but I'm all over that one.
National anthem under?
Yeah, all the songs under, honestly. Did a little bit of handicapping. With the anthem, it seems like we are overreacting to a brief interview he had with Ryan Seacrest where he said basically he wants to really, jazz it up, really wants to play with it, show people he can be a singer. That being said, you look at the times against all other times, it's a very, very steep number at 132. Now, I know some places have like a lower number with juice to the over. Sometimes they juice the under, but my thought is this is going to come in right around 2 minutes. There's no examples of him singing the song. There's only examples of him playing the music. And so, yeah, I'm gonna go with the under. Also, it's if you're at a Super Bowl party, it's very easy to find people that are going to take the other side of an under on the songs. And so I'm actually doing that, and I'm going to take the under on America the Beautiful with Brandi Carlile, who, fun fact, she has sung the national anthem for 2 Seahawks games. Both of those times came in at 92 and 93 seconds. So I'm transposing the fact that that's a very short national anthem time to say she's also going to have a short time in America the Beautiful, under 100 seconds.
Okay. Why are you betting Gatorade color to be red-pink at 14-1?
Red is the most popular Gatorade color in this country by sales. I did confirm with a little bit of Twitter research that both teams have red in their buckets during game days. And it's a long shot because it's never really happened. I think the last time red came out was in the 90s. And so simply just pushing on a long shot here because I know there will be red Gatorade in one of those tubs.
All right.
Okay.
I think we agree that the game's going to start off slow. Nothing may happen for the first 10 minutes. How do you want to attack those props?
Well, the staple is no score in the first six and a half minutes. Always going to be on that. Also, just lean into that a little bit with punts. I thought the 7.5 punt number was quite low. And honestly, I didn't really see a game. And to your point, I kind of see it starting slower. I don't know if it even finishes fast, but I do think there'll be some short drives that turn into punts early. And then kind of along the game will start slow angle. I'm taking the running backs in the race to 20 receiving yards.
Oh,
Ramondre, I believe, is 16 and change to 1. Kenneth Walker, 17 to 1. And Helani is like 28 to 1. With the idea that starts slow, we're not seeing the downfield passing to the receivers, and so we have a little bit more action in the running game.
Damn, is that a common bet that you can find at a lot of books?
I believe the green and the blue book both DraftKings
race,
fan.
yeah.
The race numbers are out there.
You can get a running back that, I mean, the whole case has been made for every running back on both sides in the air for this game, and they're 16-1 though.
Yeah. So to confirm that, 1750. No, I'm sorry, 16-1 for Walker, 28-1 for Helani, and 17-20 for Ramondre.
Okay.
I think every Booty catch has been a first down or a touchdown, and 30% of his catches are longer than 20 yards. Why Booty under?
I just think it's a bad matchup for him. We've heard Fantasy Football Hall of Famer earlier in the week breaking down how he's not going to get separation. Mm-hmm. And so I think if he's not going to get separation, the coverage on the outside has been great. I'm basically just playing a coin flip like, hey, I don't think you're going to take that shot down the field and blow this up for me. Alternative way to play it is to take Cooper Kupp versus Booty. For me, I think similar numbers. I know Kupp has gone up, Booty's gone down a little bit, but I kind of like their head-to-head as well.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Kramer's going to stick around.
Yeah.
We're heading into big game 60, your last chance to lock in the lowest price we've ever offered on the VSiN Pro annual subscription. Save $60 off the regular annual price when you sign up using code FTM. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the DK and Circa betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, 24/7 video, everything Mackinnon related, all the trends, all the numbers from Cohen, every sport, Nigel Seeley on soccer. You get the betting guide. You get the Mackinnon simulation with projections. This expires after the big game. Don't miss it. VSiN.com/subscribe. Code FTM. VSiN.com/subscribe.
All right, more with Kramer coming up next. One half of the Sports Gambling Podcast. Our full show comes up tonight, 3 hours here on VSiN, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. And our in-pocket plays as well next here on Follow the Money.